this is, what is Warhammer 40,000? I'm so used to saying 40k. Timeline of 40k lore by Bricky. If you like it, you should hit that like and that subscribe button, because we're gonna get edumacated. We're gonna get big edumacated.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs.
Hot! Okay, I'm sold. Whatever they sell, I'm sold on it. I'll buy anything if it has the hot women with the sweltering abs.
And one must know what those abs taste like.
What? Oh my god, give me the abs. I'll drink the abs.
My Gamer Supps flavor is here. Sweet six-pack has arrived.
Okay, I didn't know he was so based. I know I watched other stuff by him, but I didn't realize he was this based. Oh my god, he chose sweaty six-pack with women for his Gamer Supps flavor. That's amazing. That's amazing.
A delicious and refreshing cherry pineapple blend. Play the sound. Yes, my Bricky's official Gamer Supps flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but also in caffeine-free. The cherry pineapple flavor is not—
Okay, but like, why does this also feel like something that Lumi would have for hers?
not the kind of flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go, not bad. And next thing you know, you are having your fourth refill the same day. And it is available now. Link in the description. Use code Bricky for 10% off your entire order. Not just for this, but for everything you buy. And I'm not dumb. If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of my sweet six-pack flavor, you will get Earl 32-ounce shaker completely for free. There are only a couple thousand of those shakers, so get it while supplies lasts. I cannot believe we finally have this, but I told everyone, like, once you find out the flavor, you'll be like, yeah, that tracks, and damn straight does it track. Sweet six-pack available now. Code Bricky, link in the description. The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended. The age of darkness has begun.
Going into this, all I know about Warhammer is that the lore is supposed to be really dark in some places. That's all I know about it. That's the only thing I know about it. I don't know anything else. So I'm going into this as close to blind as I can. And also, if I ask a lot of questions, it's because of that.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necrontyr, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The Old Ones of the galaxy. They asked these Old Ones for help. Please cure us of our ailments. To which the Old Ones said, piss off. So the Necrontyr gathered together and did the sensible thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of a—
Okay, but it's also kind of interesting to me, just like the baseline concept of a species that can create life so well that they can also be able to change the fundamental structure of another alien race to make it so that they live longer and don't suffer from like cancer and stuff. Like, that's really cool to me. That's like almost like demigod level.
An afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many names: the Empyrean, the Sea of Souls, the Immaterium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp. While you and I know of Hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that. Not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul. Psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws of reality exist. Like, time is merely a suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The Warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain.
I think it's so cool, like the concept of pirates, but also I'm so glad I don't live in a time with pirates. I think about that sometimes. I'm like, I know I would be the one that gets robbed and shoved off the ship.
And death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And there are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet, the sea is not evil. It simply is. Mostly. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the Realm of Chaos. The Realm of Chaos exists in the Warp as a special area led—
Wait, the Realm of Chaos? That's just my chat.
by 3 chaos gods. Khorne, the god of combat, murder, and slaughter, with a pile of skulls taken in his name. Tzeentch, god of change, mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of lies, schemes, and sorceries. And Nurgle, god of rot, pestilence, and Genshin impact. All things rot in the end. And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the Warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of all the gods. So the Warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the Realm of Chaos and its gods fighting for control. But there are also gods.
Okay, I kind of want to play this now. Is this a video game or is this a tabletop game? Because I'm interested. I've said before, I love anything that have cults in it, anything that has like religious aspects. I think it's so cool when people create their own religions. I think it's so fun and you can be so creative with it. Both? I gotta try it. I'm sold. 40k or fantasy? Honestly, they both sound cool, but I would probably go to the 40k first. Because, like, it sounds pretty cool with the space travel.
Of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
You think
perfectly normal.
God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necrontyr and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls. And turned them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal. With the power of an entire species' souls, they turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necrontyr, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can count the number of kind gods on an amputated hand. With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as Basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
I love this lore. Okay, I'm getting into this. I'm going to play the Warhammer, whatever game I can get my hands on, because I love this lore so far. I love the idea of like a mortal being that literally is so immortal that you have to keep them separated. Like, that's so cool to me. I've always kind of I kind of always mingled with the idea of like immortality in like stories. I think it's really cool the things you can do with it, like, because to be essentially immortal is kind of terrifying at a certain point. It can be terrifying, and it kind of reminds me of from Invincible, Immortal from Invincible. They kind of did a similar thing, like where they talked about how like the immortality had an effect on him. I think that's really cool. Souls are very important to 40k. I really like that they have like the souls in 40k, because like that's something that a lot of times I feel like in stories that are focused around more like technological things. Like, I know they have like the psychic powers, but they do have a lot of like technological things like the suits of armor and stuff. I feel like a lot of times they kind of don't even like mention anything spiritual, like the psychic stuff.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's the Void Dragon.
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see. This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the War in Heaven, decide to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Corn is over there splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either, but you can still kind of get in the pool. The pool's still fine. Turns out when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Corn. So the once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. 1,000,000 years of war will certainly make Corn, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. 1,000,000 years of war will...
Okay, I have a question though. Are these gods in the literal sense, like they get power from like he said, like the war is gonna make the war god more powerful. So are these actually literally gods and not just like the like power equivalent to gods? Because at first that's what I assumed. Yes, they are. Yes. Okay. Because at first I thought when he was talking about the one species going to them for help, I called them demigods because I thought they were just the power of gods. I didn't realize they were literally gods. That makes me even more into it. Is that weird? I just love any kind of like god in stories, especially when they make them this like horrifying. That's really cool to me. Because like, of course the god of like death is going to be terrifying. Of course the god of war is going to be terrifying. Like, I think it's really cool when they don't feel the need to make gods look like humans strictly.
Probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good God, 1,000,000 years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy than a species that won't need to deal with that?
Okay, I know he talked about like the light gods, but all these gods seem to be very like negative stuff. Are there like more positive gods as well? Because I know he kind of mentioned it, but I don't think he mentioned what they were the gods of. Because, like, Also, like, what about the god of, like, having a good day? What about the god of, like, cooking a nice, refreshing meal after work? Can't we get a little bit of positivity in here? I guess it is Warhammer. You know, it would make sense also for, like, there to only be negative gods, because, like negativity, like, in terms of emotion, feels so much more powerful than, like, positive emotions. So it would make sense if you only saw the, like, negative gods because of that.
The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create life. And when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh, and also the orcs, but they're busy right now.
It would be kind of sad to be created as a species only for your creator to just, like, die off, like, not long after, and then just be left to your own devices. I feel like that would also be maybe not the best thing. Yeah, I was made for war. Now I gotta make my own war. They made one good god, but they ran it back a little because they realized it was too positive for a grimdark universe. Space elves also have nice gods, but they're not doing too well. Okay, I see. So it's mainly because since it is a grimdark universe, they are mainly just focusing on those. They just lean a lot more into the evil things, which, like I said, it would make sense also from a writing perspective, since, like, negative emotions and, like, negative stuff does seem to hit you harder than, like, positive stuff sometimes. So that could be, like, a point that you can make it, like, oh, like, it just, like, there are positive gods that are not as powerful because of all the war. Like, it's hard to be positive with all the war.
The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects, because, you know, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos Friends can be a bit of an issue. But Eldar are pretty good at it. And you see, what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances.
He said that they don't have as much negative effects from the warp. Does that mean that other species can also, like, take power from the warp, but they get all the negative effects? Or can other species not do that? Like, they can't do it at all as well?
Distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the nether is like a pocket dimension? So moving 10 spaces in the nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts, a fabricated psychic realm that allowed them to travel without fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now, the 21st century. That's right, while you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time.
Okay, am I crazy? Or did the NPC streams kind of stop? Am I crazy or did they stop? Am I crazy? I feel like they all stopped, or just people stopped talking about them. Humans kidnap and kill every human psycho, carefully train them to avoid attracting bad warp stuff to reality. Okay, except for unsanctioned psychers. Honestly, that sounds really cool. I like the idea of, like, having to control people's powers. Like, I don't like the idea of kidnapping and killing, obviously. What do you think I am, a monster? But, I think it's cool, the idea of, like, we have powers, but we gotta be careful because, like, if this mysterious force senses us, we're all in trouble. I think that's really cool. It kind of reminds me of, like, what a lot of sidekicks, like, in ghost stories and stuff do, with it, like, don't let the ghosts know that you can see them whilst you're in danger. It reminds me of that. It's mainly so they don't blow up into demonic portals. Oh, that's really cool. Okay, I like that. That's really cool, the idea, like, somebody's head can just become a portal if they don't do it well. Well, they didn't kidnap one. She ended a planet, so unfortunately the evil government is in the right there. Okay, well, 1 point for the evil government. Yet to be determined how many points for the good government. Is there a good government in this world, or is it all bad government? Is it oops all bad government? Because I wouldn't blame them if it was. It seems like it's be hard to be the good guys here. Actually, no. Wait, I take that back. It seems like it would be easy to be the good guys here. Just don't be the bad guys. Just don't do all the bad guy stuff. Everyone's doing bad guy stuff. Just do the good guy stuff.
We know how to be friends. The 21st century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The Age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here, and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the Age of Technology, or to some, the Dark Age of Technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi,
I want to go back. I want to look at that art he showed. Look at how cool this art looks. Look at how cool this looks. It's like a robot, and then it just has these human arms dangling down. That's so cool. I love how cool that looks. The tiny arms. Don't laugh at the tiny arms. Don't laugh at the tiny arms. I gotta shield him. Don't laugh at the tiny arms. If you're gonna laugh at the tiny arms, you can't look at the tiny arms. Don't laugh at him. He's trying his best. You guys laughed at the T-Rex, and he was the apex. Actually, technically, I think T-Rex is now considered like a scavenger, not apex predator. But you guys laughed at the T-Rex, and he was the apex predator in Jurassic Park.
He reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style. You can go cyberpunk dystopian. The Age of Technology was deep sci-fi, like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp.
Okay, so this is just answering the question I had earlier about other species doing the warp. Okay. It goes full circle, I like how they have the third eye. I know in a lot of, like, spiritualism, the third eye is a really big thing. So I really think it's cool that they put that in their character design.
And then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. This was truly the golden age of humanity. And with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in
Debauchery.
No!
What happens
Not debauchery!
when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't rely on the dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems, and feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You know, you take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts, paint.
Why can't they just experiment with like romance? Why they gotta, I know they're gonna experiment with weapons, I think, but why is it always gotta lead to something bad? Why can't we just stick with the art? Why can't we just stick with the artsy fartsy? Come on, you're enjoying the art, get into poetry, write a song, sing a song, dance a little bit.
Paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased, must be enhanced, must be taken to the limits. The Eldar Empire.
I see why you said you're going to regret saying that. I regret saying that. Oh my god. Why do they have to push everything to the limit? Listen. I get why. I imagine with a species that has enhanced like feelings and enhanced like dopamine receptors, they also feel it more when they're bored. By the way, also cannibalism, but like consensual cannibalism, right? It's consensual. It's probably also, like I said, it's probably a lot harder for a species that's used to like the heights of like pleasure and touch to have moments of boredom. Because like, think about when you're boredest, when you're at class, literally just like staring at the clock, wondering if you can actually die of boredom. And then put that like in 1,000 times, like everything feels slower. The time feels like it's never going to pass and you're just stuck there. I'm not gonna say I would get into all of that, but I can understand wanting to experiment a little bit. They had me at when he was talking about experimenting with like the like art and like going like more like kind of abstract. I thought that was cool. I thought it was going to go like in the direction of like people doing drugs and doing art. I thought that's where it was going, not like murder and like tearing apart bodies. I didn't expect all that.
Slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking place in a city in the Webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and
okay, I do have to say, I really like in lore that not everyone turned to that, because I think that's really cool, because I've said before, it makes the lore less interesting sometimes when the characters are like all like evil, like, or all like feeling the same way, because like in real life, an entire species does not feel the same way. Like entire intelligent species does not feel the same way. Like even like with pets who aren't as intelligent as elves and stuff, like two pets can like different foods. Two pets can like doing things like playing differently. They're not all the same. So I really think it's cool that they had like a ship with them who's like, Nah, I'm gonna get the F out of here. I'm done. I like that. I like that.
Left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slaanesh, the fourth chaos god, was birthed into existence and consumed the souls of 90% of the Eldar population.
Am I allowed to show that?
Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the webway in Kamara were able to stave off the pull of...
Was that person have a penis coming out of their stomach? Was I crazy? I'm not gonna go back because it looked like a penis coming out of their stomach. I did not expect that. Also, look at this head with, I think this is, I may be crazy. This looks like a head with its mouth shut. I think it is because this one's holding a head as well. I am really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying this. I didn't expect me to be so into like the grim dark.
Slaanesh, so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slaanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts, the god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and perfection, had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin of humanity. Slaanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion, as a staple in these sci-fi settings, humanity began to suffer the Age of Strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent through the warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations.
I don't know exactly. Did he just insinuate cannibalism? Is he saying cannibalize? Cause I know a lot of stories where people are stuck in a location end up turning to cannibalism. Yes. Oh my god. Yes. Okay, I like this. It reminds me of an Overlord. There's a person that has a bunch of bug summons, and whenever they don't have food for it, all their bugs will start eating each other to survive. Because the world had no food supply, they relied on trade, and they got cut off, so they can't do anything but that. Are these wolves? Okay, so am I under the impression, is this correct, that these wolves have been terraformed so much that they no longer have, like, life other than intelligent life? Like, they don't have, like, animals they can farm. Well, you said trade, so maybe they do have animals they can farm, just not on this planet. They just relied on trade until then. Some worlds were turned into giant factories. Okay, so it is correct to assume that their world is just a world that's been turned into basically, you know, they basically over-specialized. Okay, so they basically put all their eggs in one basket, and now they have no birds to lay any more eggs. Basically what they did, they built a bunch of factories, and they're like, nah, we're good. We can get our supplies from other planets. And then when that fell through, they're like, nah, I'm gonna eat my neighbor. Sorry, Ted. You're getting eaten today. Okay, but if you had to cannibalize somebody, how would you cook Ted? Would you cook Ted, or would you just, like, would you feel so bad about it that you wouldn't even put that much thought into cooking them? Or would you be like, nah, if I gotta eat Ted, I'm gonna make the most out of it. Like, if I gotta eat my neighbor, then I'm going to make the most.
Psykers began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately for those people, Psykers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kinda attract demons, who then force their way through the Psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years.
I got excited when he said mechs for agriculture. I'm like, that's so cool. I love when mechs are used for more than just battle. But I get why they would end up being turned into battle mechs. I just think it's cool because a lot of times, like, you see like mechs and like super advanced technology being used in like very specific ways. So I think it's really cool the idea of having like super advanced technology and then just plow a field. The chainsaw sword you saw everywhere was originally for agriculture. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. That makes sense also. One hand to like grab the tree and the other one to like cut it down. Okay. That's cool. And then now you use it to cut down your enemies. I mean, in a way, the tree is the enemy of the lumberjack. So, yeah, I imagine the first mechs were used for construction. Oh, that's smart. That's a really good... I like that. I like that. I mean, that would make a lot of sense because, like, a mech is something like big, but you have more control over it versus, like... I know I've seen some really, like, really specific, like, people in like the giant, what is it called? The giant like excavators. I've seen some people get really like specific with that and very like tiny detail with that and are really good at using it precisely. But like in a normal day-to-day, not everyone can learn how to do that. I think you can learn better with a mech. Space Marine power armor was originally used for mining. Okay, that's cool. I mean, the mining also makes as much sense as, like, the construction, honestly, because then if it, like, collapses, then it collapses on your mech. Like, the mine collapses, it collapses on your mech instead of, like, you. You have a little bit of leeway.
Years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as Night Worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult mechanicus, or
I like how they pray to the gun. I like how they're praying to the
members of society to full-blown.
This is me whenever I got a golden weapon in Call of Duty. This is literally me just praying, like, please.
Priests. The cult mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the ashes of the Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore, until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor. He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from?
Oh, hail.
I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he...
Okay, 10 feet tall. That's so tall. That's so tall. That is so tall. Like, I would have questions if a person that was 10 feet tall just appeared out of nowhere. I would have so many questions.
He basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man, also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind, with a treaty signed with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them. 18 of them, I meant.
I like the god. That's so funny. I think that's really cool, though. Like, this mysterious, like, he's not like a god, but, like, he's 10 feet tall. He's the most powerful, like, psychic, human. And he just comes out of nowhere, and he's like, nah, we're gonna destroy anyone that doesn't want to join us. Like, that's just so, like, cool, because it's, I don't know, normally, like, when there's a person that unites everyone, the person's so good that they rally everyone underneath them, but then this one, he's like, nope, you disagree with me, you're gonna be taken down.
Gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size. A real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current galaxy. Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy that's like throwing the baby like a basketball? It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade. A crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus, one of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors with genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines. For Horus, his were the Luna Wolves. And as
okay, the Space Marines I have seen before. I don't know anything about them, but I didn't know they were from Warhammer. I don't know what I thought they were from, but I didn't know they were from Warhammer. But I have heard Space Marines before. That does strike a chord, because I thought I didn't hear about any of this before now. Also, I always thought the Space Marines had a cool design. I don't know, something about, like, the knight armor mixed with, like, technology just looks so cool.
The Emperor continued on his Great Crusade. He found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx with the Imperial Fists. Angron, the Barbarian, the very angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect with his Emperor's Children. And Jagatai Khan, the Swift, the Stoic, and his White Scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his...
I love the armor they give on all them. Like, the armor they give on all them looks so cool. Let me see if I can go back. Show me the family portrait! There it is. I like how they're all, like, a mix of different, like... They're not all the same, like, because you can tell they took inspiration from, like, real life societies and armor. I really like how they're not all the same, like, armor. They each have kind of a different area, it seems like, and that kind of reflects the fact that they were thrown across the universe. Maybe their armor reflects each part of the universe they're from. I think that's really cool.
Of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Damn it! It's always the treachery!
Horus.
Wait, I want to go back and hear that song.
Men, we don't know what we did. Horus,
the
Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues. All because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus.
It's so funny how in any story, like, half of the time, the villain's issue goes back to just mommy or daddy issues. Like, that's so freaking funny to me. Like, no matter how powerful I am, it doesn't get rid of my daddy issues. The Space Marines are like, I have perpetual daddy issues. No amount of you being present now will change that. The teleportation changed me forever on a fundamental level. I have abandonment issues. I mean, the dad probably did more stuff than that. Like, he didn't abandon them. He went searching for them. But, like, they probably had more issues than just that. But it's so funny to think, like, I had to grow up without my dad, and now I have abandonment issues, so I'm gonna betray my dad.
Slowly, Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus Heresy. 9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following years were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor...
I didn't expect that many. I think he actually was an absent father. He let his, the underlings raise his kids. He's like, oh my god, I'm so happy we're reunited. I missed you so much. I didn't know what I was going to do without you. Now get to war, son. That's how I imagine it went. Emperor, great leader, terrible dad. I mean, he's probably busy doing the conquering and the reconnecting of the species. Can you blame him? Are you questioning our great emperor? You're correct, the Primarchs adapted the culture of the worlds they landed on. Oh, that's cool. I really like that. I said before, I like when stories, like, have a bunch of different cultures. They don't just focus on one, because, like, in a story, like, in a universe where there's so many different planets are gonna have different designs and stuff, and I think that's cool. Did he treat all of his kids the same? Heck no. Okay, so somebody could have daddy issues, and somebody could. He had favorites. Okay, because I was gonna say, I wasn't sure if it was like he treated them all the same, and some of them ended up with daddy issues, and some of them ended up with not caring, or if it was like, you know what I'm saying. He despised Ingron and Logar. Well, how are you gonna search for your kid, and then when you find them, despise them? Like, you search all over the universe for them, and now you just despise them and give them an army? Son, I hate you so much, I'm gonna give you an army.
Originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster than light travel significantly easier and safer. Really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that. Literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon. Basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus Heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor,
okay, that's a cool name for a ship though. The Vengeful Spirit? Like, come on. That's such a cool name. That's such a cool name for it.
Truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image.
I gotta go back. I was so stuck on how cool the ship name was, I didn't hear who strangled who.
Ship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The Emperor then
I don't
said,
think I have, actually.
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it, and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul.
Wow. Okay, so souls are very important to the universe. Do they have reincarnation in the universe, or is that not a thing? Like, I'm just curious. Could your soul be recycled into a new life if it's not destroyed? Yeah, yes, the Eldar do, and some humans called perpetuals. Okay, that's really cool. Because I also said I like reincarnation stories.
Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds
Oh.
and the strain of powering the Golden Throne. The only
looks
thing
so
keeping
cool,
him
though.
alive is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 psychers every single day. This
What?
was 10,000
That's
years
insane.
ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000. The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god Emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as Chaos Space Marines, raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the Empire alive. All through
That's really cool. I like that. I know you guys were saying before that he didn't want to be seen as a god, but I like how they did it. I like how he's seen as a god, and then people go around preaching his will and, like, kind of trying to, like he said, like, rooting out anyone who goes against him. So they basically have, like, the final say in, like, whether or not you're loyal enough to a person that never wanted people to be loyal in that way to them. Because, like, he never wanted to be seen as a god.
Throughout this, they must endure orc invasions, Eldar trickery, the reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest tyrannid threat from the darkness between galaxies
I
that
don't
has
like the
arrived
tongue.
to feast on their worlds. The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these
should
things.
be.
All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence. To be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where
I don't
lack
wanna
of
be
devotion
here.
is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there is a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection. So pick up that lasgun soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy.
Hell yeah.
Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war.
And war never changes. I don't want to be bad. Well, that's too damn bad. Oh, I love the art. Oh, I love the music.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I have helped teach you about Warhammer. If you are a
You did.
brand new person and you want to get a bit more about the world, there are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghosts, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor, enjoy the new sweet 6-pack, and if you're curious and you want, you know, just a little lord, you can find him in the description as well on my merchandise store, orchid8.com. Thank you for watching, and may the God Emperor be with us.
I like that. I really like that.